Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Kevin. I was going to do something totally different, something more fun for the vlog tonight, but when I came into my office to do some work tonight, I checked Facebook and Twitter and that kind of stuff before I started getting to work and found that there's another huge loss in rock and roll today. By the time you see this vlog, you'll probably have found out that David Bowie has died. And he was kind of a hero of mine, as well as recently Lemmy from Motorhead just died. I mean, his memorial was yesterday. In November, Phil the Animal Taylor from Motorhead died. And it's rare that like celebrity deaths really kind of affect me. The last time I can remember, being really this bummed about, like a celebrity, I guess, was like when Joey Ramone died, and then Dee Dee died, and um, Johnny Ramone died, Tommy Ramone died. All the original Ramones are dead. Is like those like these like iconic, legendary figures to me. These kind of heroes because they did something. They created this music kind of against all odds, and it's the music that kind of like there's a thousand things I want to say, and I'm trying to get them all out, but the music that they created like has been so important and instrumental in like my life and putting me on the path that I've been on since I was like that weird, alienated feeling kid. It like gave me a place, and I just really appreciate them for all that. The first time I saw Motorhead was in the 80s. I don't remember exactly what year, but the Cro-Mags opened up for them, and that was definitely like one of those pivotal shows for me as a teenager that definitely blew me away. And like, after hearing the Sex Pistols and Dead Kennedys and, bands like that and stuff, just like really was like, I want to do this, and that's why for so many years, I've been playing in bands, It's been over 3 decades that I've been playing music. And even at 44, I don't want to stop. I don't know how old Phil the Animal Taylor was, but Lemmy was 70, still playing this music that he would say is not punk and it's not metal, it's rock and roll. David Bowie, 69 years old when he died. Motorhead and David Bowie just put out records recently. And, since they've kind of been there for most of my life, just kind of think, well, they're always going to be there. But that's not how life goes. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So Motorhead has been a big deal to me. I think I was thinking of how many times I've seen them, and I've seen them a lot. They were like that big of a deal to me. I remember living in San Francisco. One of my friends who was a promoter, show promoter, a booker, Motorhead was playing, and she called me up and asked if I was coming to the show because she was putting the show on. And it was like the morning of the show, and I was like super bummed because I didn't have any money to go. And she asked, and I said, no, I can't go. I don't have any money. And she essentially says, all right, well, you're on the list. See you tonight. Hangs up the phone. She was awesome. She's also gone now. She died just right before I moved to Portland, as well as another friend of mine who died, and my father died, all around within like a really short time span of each other. So I'm also thinking about them. I'm thinking of a grandfather who died recently, within the last couple years, who's very important to me. I'm thinking of them too tonight. A quick little David Bowie story, because I actually thought I was just going to talk about Lemmy and David Bowie tonight, but I was in this hardcore band called the Nerve Agents a bunch of years ago, and we had gone out to the East Coast and done some touring with another band, kind of East Coast hardcore heavyweights, called Kill Your Idols. and we got along with them really well. Love those guys. It was like this amazing summer camp we had with them on that tour. And, you know, we wanted to kind of share our mutual love and admiration of each other by at least documenting it with an EP, a 7-inch, like a split 7-inch. Came out on CD too, 7-inch record. But one side, it was like, you know, originally it was kind of like a lot of bands do this. You know, they do split albums or split EPs and stuff, especially in punk rock and hardcore and stuff. And you know, it was going to be Kill Your Idols. They were going to have their side, and they were going to do 2 originals. And originally, they were going to do a cover of one of our songs. We were going to do the same thing, 2 of our originals and a cover of one of their songs. And then somehow it came up like, well, we were like, oh, that's way too typical. You know, we should just do, you know, 2 of our original songs, and then we'll still do a cover, but we should pick a song, you know, that we really dig, but that's not like already a hardcore punk rock song. And that's my philosophy doing covers. If I'm in a band that's going to do a cover, and generally it's going to be a hardcore punk band, and I'm going to do a cover, I want to do something outside of hardcore punk. But anyway, so when we were talking, my band, when we were talking about what cover we were going to do, it was up to 2 people like that we were like really, really into, that you might not think, you know, if you're of a certain age actually, that you might not think a hardcore punk band would care about. But you know, I'm an older punker guy now, I guess. So that's when things were more open and a bit more open-minded, I think, in punk rock. And so one that was being batted around was a Susie and the Banshees song, which is a little bit more obvious because Susie and the Banshees started off as kind of like a first-generation punk rock band, and then, you know, kind of morphed into like death rock and, you know, other places. But so we were going to do one of the kind of more death rocky Susie and the Banshee songs we were thinking about. Because like on tour, like you think like, you know, you're so into hardcore punk rock stuff, that's probably what you listen to in the van. But when you're on tour, you're listening to it all the time, every single night, you know, tons of bands. So that would be like, kind of like the last thing we'd go to in the van. You know, there's like a lot of hip hop, and there happened to be a lot of David Bowie. And we all love David Bowie. He's like total hero. And so we decided to do a David Bowie song. Sort of like our send-up, our, you know, tribute to David Bowie. And so we did Suffragette City. And I'm pretty happy with how it came out. It definitely sounded like us, but with the awesome, super awesome songwriting of David Bowie. I'm not really sure how to end this. I'm just, you know, it takes, even though I didn't know David Bowie or Lemmy or Phil the Animal Taylor, you know, in real life, it's like they were still so influential on my life. So, like I said, it's got me thinking about all the people who I've lost over the past few years now. A friend of mine who's probably the biggest David Bowie fan on the planet posted on Facebook earlier tonight in regards to David Bowie's passing a quote, and I'll probably get this wrong, from The Great Gatsby. "Let us love our friends while they're living, not when they're dead." And then there's another quote that's kind of famously associated with Lemmy, and that's, "Born to lose, live to win." And I've taken that quote to heart, especially recently. Alright, I don't know what else to say. Good night. Tomorrow's vlog will be less of a downer.